The year is 1977. Polaroid, a name synonymous with instant magic, stands at the pinnacle of innovation. Its SX-70 camera is a cultural icon, and its instant film technology dominates photography. The company's market capitalization exceeds $3 billion, a staggering sum for the era. But within 2 decades, this industrial titan, a pioneer of consumer electronics, would declare bankruptcy. Not once, but twice. This isn't just a story of a company failing to adapt. It's a testament to how even the most brilliant minds can miss the obvious, how market dominance can breed complacency, and how a single, fundamental misjudgment can unravel an empire. This is the story of Polaroid's vanishing act, and how the future it pioneered ultimately became its undoing. This is how it happened. From its inception, Polaroid Corporation was a beacon of American ingenuity. Founded in 1937 by Edwin H. Land, a visionary scientist and inventor, the company initially focused on polarizing filters for sunglasses and scientific instruments. But Land's true genius erupted in 1947 with the public demonstration of his instant camera, the Land Camera Model 95. Imagine the astonishment. A fully developed print emerging from the camera in 60 seconds. This was alchemy. This was the future. By the 1960s, Polaroid was a household name, its products embedded in the cultural fabric. The 1972 launch of the SX-70, a compact, single-lens reflex instant camera, solidified its position. The SX-70 was not just a camera, it was an experience, an event. By the mid-1970s, film sales alone were generating hundreds of millions in revenue annually, fueling massive research and development budgets. Polaroid was a technology giant, a darling of Wall Street, and a symbol of American innovation, holding hundreds of patents that safeguarded its unique position. But beneath this glittering facade, the seeds of its destruction were already being sown, long before the digital wave even began to crest. Polaroid's first major challenge, ironically, came from a former partner, Kodak. In 1976, Kodak introduced its own line of instant cameras and film, triggering an immediate and intense patent infringement lawsuit. While Polaroid ultimately won a monumental $909 million settlement in 1986, the decade-long legal battle diverted immense resources and management focus. This courtroom victory, however, instilled a dangerous overconfidence, convincing Polaroid's leadership that its technological supremacy was unassailable. Meanwhile, outside its insulated world of instant film, the broader photography market was undergoing a quiet revolution. Cheap, reliable 35 and point-and-shoot cameras, primarily from Japanese manufacturers like Canon and Nikon, began flooding the market. These cameras offered superior image quality and greater flexibility at a lower cost per photo. Polaroid's instant prints, while magical, were inherently limited in resolution and expensive to produce. The real tectonic shift, however, was still brewing in research labs. Early digital cameras emerged in the 1990s, crude and expensive, but signaling a fundamental change in how images could be captured and shared. In 1996, Polaroid itself launched the PDC-2000, one of the earliest consumer digital cameras. It was a technical marvel, a harbinger of the future, yet it was priced at a prohibitive $3,695, lacked a built-in display, and relied on expensive proprietary memory cards. Crucially, it did not print. Polaroid's core competency, its entire corporate identity, was instant physical prints. They simply could not reconcile a future where the output was purely digital data, not a tangible object. This internal conflict proved fatal. Management, deeply rooted in chemical engineering and photographic film, viewed digital as an interesting side project, not an existential threat. They saw the early, low-resolution digital images and scoffed, convinced that the tactile experience of a Polaroid print would always reign supreme. They failed to grasp that convenience, speed, and shareability would ultimately trump print quality for the mass market. This intellectual blindness reached its zenith in the late 1990s. As digital camera sales began their explosive ascent, film sales for Polaroid, which had once been its unchallenged cash cow, started to plummet. The company was caught in a brutal pincer movement. The high cost of its proprietary film and cameras made it uncompetitive against 35mm film, and the burgeoning digital market offered unparalleled convenience and zero recurring film costs. Polaroid's leadership made a series of desperate gambles, investing heavily in technologies like its iZone camera, which produced tiny, sticker-backed instant photos aimed at teenagers. These were niche products, a far cry from the mass appeal of the SX-70. By 2000, Polaroid was bleeding cash. Its debt soared past $1.2 billion, and its stock price, once in the triple digits, had fallen to less than $1. The company that had once held an iron grip on its market now found itself utterly adrift, facing an existential crisis it refused to fully acknowledge. Their internal forecasts clung to a belief that digital was a fad, that chemical photography would endure. This was not just a strategic error, it was a profound failure of imagination. The definitive pivot arrived on October 12, 2001. After decades of unparalleled innovation and market dominance, Polaroid Corporation filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. This was not merely a financial restructuring. It was the official surrender of a technological empire that had stubbornly refused to adapt. The core problem was never a lack of technological capability. Polaroid had the patents, the scientists, and even produced its own digital cameras. Its fatal flaw was a deeply entrenched corporate culture, a psychological attachment to its chemical processing heritage, and a profound misreading of consumer behavior. They believed their customers wanted a print, when in reality, they wanted instant gratification and the ability to share their memories. Digital offered this with unmatched efficiency and at a fraction of the cost. The company could not shed its identity as a film manufacturer, even as the world around it moved on to pixels. They were a hammer, and every problem looked like a nail, even when the world needed a screwdriver. The ensuing years saw Polaroid's assets repeatedly sold off and fragmented. The original company, a shell of its former self, ceased to exist. Yet the ghost of Polaroid lingered. In 2008, an ambitious group of former Polaroid employees and instant photography enthusiasts, fueled by nostalgia and a determination to save the last instant film factory in the Netherlands, launched the Impossible Project. They reverse-engineered the complex chemical formulas, restarting instant film production. Eventually, the Impossible Project acquired the Polaroid brand itself, evolving into Polaroid Originals, and finally, just Polaroid. Today, the brand lives on, producing both new instant cameras and film, catering to a niche market of analog enthusiasts and artists. This new Polaroid is a fraction of its former self, yet it represents a powerful lesson. The original Polaroid, a company that defined instant gratification for decades, failed to see that the instant was transferable, while the chemical process was not. Its story remains a stark warning. True innovation is not just about invention, but about relentless reinvention and the humility to abandon what once made you great when the world shifts beneath your feet. Polaroid's fall from grace remains a cautionary tale of industrial hubris and the brutal pace of technological disruption. It illustrates how even the most iconic brands, rooted in groundbreaking innovation, can become prisoners of their past successes. The company that once made magic happen in 60 seconds ultimately couldn't see the future coming, leaving behind a legacy that is both brilliant and heartbreaking. The echoes of its decline resonate across industries, reminding us that in the relentless march of progress, even titans can vanish if they fail to truly see the horizon.